Hey everybody, it's Bust with Busted Strategies number 32. We're going to be doing some Innistrad draft again today, but it was interesting seeing the arena opens go. I don't feel like I'm really comfortable enough with Standard at this moment to jump into these. I do intend to do some more tournament type stuff in the future, but as it stands, you only have limited amounts of time to get acclimated to the current Standard format, and I don't think we would be super successful here. But happy enough to jump into more drafts, the premiere draft for Midnight Hunt, and let's get it going. Yeah, hope y'all are enjoying your football day out there. If it's a little pregame bust or postgame bust, hope your team did well. See how salty we can be on on the Monday video. We'll record it before the Chiefs game happens tomorrow, so. Fantasy football went disastrously the week before. The Chiefs didn't win. It was a brutal week of football. But nonetheless, back to the excitement here. This is a very easy grafted identity. There is, some decent red cards in here, seeing the Moonrager / Purifying Dragon. I do kind of like looking towards red and towards green a bit in this format. I don't think it's strong. You got to kind of wait till you can see if it's open or not. But Grafted Identity is just everything we're looking for. It's a bomb quality card. These control magics are always super strong. If you're not looking for bombs or looking for removal, which Grafted Identity also is. It's just extremely, extremely powerful. Blue, in my opinion, is the best color in the set anyways. And so picking up an extremely strong blue card with no other good blue cards in the pack is kind of nice for potentially what we could put together for pack 3. Or I guess pack 2, it's cut off the blue for that, but we'll see. We'll see. Not a bad start, though. Maybe we'll wield the Midnight Lightning Bolt. It'd be pretty sweet. But okay, so person to our right took a common, kind of interesting. There's some pretty powerful not common cards here. Tovolar, he's not ridiculously good, but he's still quite strong. He does force you kind of into red-green, so I'd understand not wanting to take Tovolar. Loyal Griff, Gavany, Downguard are both just quality cards, and so it's not like big signaling that our opponent, the person to our right, let all of these cards go. The big thing happening here is we have an Organ Hoarder. That's what we're going to be taking. This is what I feel to be the best blue common in the set. It pairs quite nicely with the Grafted Identity. And so I would think this would lead us to think that like the person to our right took probably like a black removal spell. So we might want to try and kind of look away from black or not expect too much black to cycle through to us. But I would feel like blue is probably on point given the way that these packs have come together. Okay, well, looks like it's time to branch out. I'm not particularly interested in the uncommons. I don't like Heirloom Mirror. Just the unit coming down tapped after you've done all this work doesn't really do it for me. Dawnhard Wardens is fine, but we're not in green-white. Curse of the Shaken Faith is not really on point with anything. And so that leaves us to like the only real playables here being Flip the Switch, Harvesttide Sentry, and Shadow Beast Sighting. And this is kind of tough. If we want to just stick to blue, we would take the Flip the Switch. I think this is a little too easy to come across to where we don't want to do it. So that means we're either taking, the Harvesttide Sentry or the Shadow Beast Sighting. And I'll take the Shadow Beast Sighting. It plays reasonably well into blue-green. The only problem here is we're getting like really stacked up on our 4-drops. And so we're going to have to be kind of careful with our curve if we do look to draft blue-green. Okay, well, Willowgeist isn't the great in terms of blue-green. It doesn't even feel like it should be a green card, right? Whenever a card leaves your graveyard, you put a counter on it, and so it's a little bit challenging to get the disturb theme or the flashback theme going in green-white. So I'm not like super interested in this, but as we look at these packs, the only playable blue card is Drownyard Amalgam. I would be interested in blue-white. The Grafted Identity Organ Hoarder play quite well in blue-white, but Cathar's Call is kind of weak there. He can be okay, but he's not super exciting. Otherwise, these green cards are kind of okayish. I think we have to look towards the Duel for Dominance, as this is just kind of the second best removal spell if we do end up in blue-green. So I think this is a fairly safe take with the way things are going here. I do want to kind of like keep my eye towards white. I'm not really amped about how these blue-green cards are coming together, but that does have me kind of thinking of this Gavany Trapper here. There is a Bird Admirer, which is fine. There's Defend the Celestus, but I think we're already too stacked on expensive cards to want to take the Defend the Celestus. So I feel like the only choices here would be Silverbolt, Gavany Trapper, or Bird Admirer. And amongst those three, I would rather just be taking Gavany Trapper. So we'll see. We're not really locked in to blue-green or to blue-white. I mean, at the end of the day, we could even end up drafting green-white. Who knows? Who knows what we have in store? But with these, again, like there's no good green cards. We don't want the Bramble Armor. Secrets of the Key's fine, but we're really looking at this good stack of white cards here. And so, like, it's tough. Like, the Gavany Silversmith is strong, but our curve can't really support it. I don't like Sunset Revelry outside of white-black, and so I think we're just in on another trapper here. Okay, well, interesting. A 7th pick Moonrager Slash, but I think we're too far away from being in any of those themes. I think seeing the blue-white card here is a pretty good sign that we could be in the Disturbed deck or into another blue-white deck. And so I'm going to go ahead and snatch up the Faithful Mending and see where this goes. Dissipate's fine in that sense. Otherwise, we're just picking up Larder Zombie. No green cards for us to be interested in. Welcome to the squad. Okay, well, we'll take the Stormrider Spirit here. Tapping at the window is fine in blue-green. It's typically just kind of like a 23rd card, but I think we're going to be landing into blue-white here. Take a Secrets of the Key. I don't really like the Celestus Sanctifiers. I don't really like Secrets of the Key in blue-white, but it'll make the cut sometimes. Okay, I'm probably not going to play the Cavalry. If we do end up in blue-green, I'm going to want this Might of the Old Ways. Okay. Not bad. So this is kind of the thing that we'll look at as being a problem here is we have this stack of like blue-white cards. It looks like we're pushing ourselves into blue-white, but we saw 0 Disturbs. We might have seen one like Pack 1, Pack 2 or something, but we didn't end up with any Disturb cards in our deck. We didn't even end up with like a Bait Hook Angler. And so if you caught the previous draft, this would have us looking more towards like a blue-white Flyers style deck. But oh man, there's a Consuming Blob. This is ridiculously powerful. There's just tons of decks that can't actually do anything about this. I think I'm good to go in with it. We aren't missing on any blue cards. Like Larder Zombie's the only one. We aren't missing out on too much in white. I mean, Cathar Commando is fine, but again, it doesn't have Disturb or anything. I think this might push us back in the ways of blue-green. This is just incredibly powerful. And then if we could come out and wheel things like Eccentric Farmer, that does actually play to a lot of the blue-green themes. If we're looking at, like whenever I talk about blue-green, I think that there's really 3 themes within the deck that you have to look towards, and you get to pick 2 of them. There's the the ramp style deck with the Unblinking Eyes and Root Coil Creepers ramping into Shadow Beast sightings. There's the self-mill deck, which is really focusing on things like Organ Hoarder, Eccentric Farmer, the Puff Cap, and then there's also the kind of like tempo aggro deck if you pick up the Winterthorn Blessings. And so I could see ourselves very much being in like the blue-green kind of tempo-y self-mill style deck and not taking too much out of the ways of ramp. But we'll see. I mean, if a Root Coil Creeper shows up, we're taking it. But I don't want to just bank on that being there too much. Okay, well, the Overwhelmed Archivist is quite good. I'm happy enough to come in and take it. My only real concern once we start to take a card like it is if we say move these white cards out. You know, if we look down here at the bottom end of our curve, we just don't have anything, and we really need to start picking up early game plays. And so I'm just going to take the Harvest-Tide Sentry here. I concede that the Overwhelmed Archivist is the stronger card objectively, but from a deck need standpoint, I think we have to be taking the Harvest-Tide Sentry. Can't just be having these games where we don't play anything until the 3rd turn. Okay, Hostile. I don't think we're going to be into. This plays well in white-black or something, but we're not really able to take advantage of it. Kind of, to the same degree, I'm going to take this other Harvest-Tide Sentry. There is a Gale Drifter, which would be fine here. There is an Otherworldly Gaze, which we could also take use of, but I gotta take our curve into consideration. How many of these we're going to take? We're just going to take all of them. Let me see where we're at. The strongest card here is most certainly Memory Deluge, but Kind of just considering taking the Harvest Tide Sentries anyways. Like, I think we can kind of manage ourselves even if, like, from a card advantage standpoint, we have a Organ Hoarder, we have a Shadow Beast sighting up to this point. I think I'm okay with this Harvest Tide Sentry. It's been done. It's been taken. Okay, well, things things start to change a little bit here. Falcon Abomination is fine. We are going to need to pick up, some kind of interactivity other than just the singular grafted identity, but I really don't want to have to be taking Geist Waves. I would rather have the Unsummon or the Return of the Damned, whatever the 4-mana bounce spell's called. So we'll take the Harvest Tide or the Falcon Abomination here. We do have some minor combos with it as a user of the Grafted Identity. It could help us get a Coven with our Harvest Tide Sentry. I don't want to hype it up too much, but it's got some synergies here. Right, and it looks like, I mean, do we ever just like consider if we just move into green-white? I should have thought of that like a little bit earlier in the sense that I mean, I think that's like the way these packs are falling. I think we need to at least pull these Sun Gold Barrages back out. I'm just looking at something like Join the Dance here, and there's no blue cards we want to play. I think we might be landing in green white. I kind of feel bad about a lot of these Harvest Tide Sentry kind of cards that we ended up passing. Harvest Tide Sentry, I'm talking about the Dawn Speakers, the 3/3 green white card, but. This is tough. This is tough. Do we end up in green-white? I mean, all we're really abandoning is the grafted identity. But we're missing out on like a lot of the core cards here. All right, Cathar Commando. Welcome to the team. He's got all the Harvest Tide Sentries, though. That's what we're doing today. That's gonna be something built around and working on with the Sentry. Interesting. The eccentric farmer did table. I'm going to take it over the likes of Gavany Trapper. It's kind of interesting in the sense that the way a lot of our curves, potentially look here would be like the Trapper on 1, the Sentry on 2, and then we need a 2 attack unit, so we could kind of pivot into the eccentric farmer. I could see it doing something. Okay, good. And a Flare of Faith. I don't really remember what the first pack looked like in terms of white cards. I thought it was decent, but I think we're most certainly just into green-white now. Pestilent Wolf probably won't play, but it is a 2-drop, so it's got some merit. Blessed Defiance probably won't play. Candle Trap probably won't play either, but they are some potential options here. And then, man, what a turd! It's like we finally decide to jump into green-white here, and then just this abysmal collection of cards shows up. Just the vampire's wet dream is what shows up here, but nothing for actual anything we're trying to do. And so I'm just going to take the Snarling Wolf. I don't really suspect a Sun Gold Barrage is going to table. We could be like, oh, I'm going to play Mystic Skull, but no, no, we'll just get that one out of here quickly. I don't like playing multiple copies of Sun Gold Barrage, is kind of where we're at. So we'll take the Snarling Wolf. Okay. And what a downer. Another powerful card. I mean, Angel Fire Ignition, it is like strong enough for me to consider. I just don't have the package of cards that would make me willing to splash. I mean, we need to be picking up things like Jack-o'-lantern. We would need to be picking up Terramorphic Expanses, which work well with the Eccentric Farmer. But it's like I'm curious if we could ever just like table an Eccentric Farmer. But otherwise, there's a Cathar Commando in here as well. I think I'm just going to go with the Eccentric Farmer here. Oh, dang. It's like, and here come all of the red cards. And so, with these, this is tough. I think we're just stuck with the Lunarch Veteran here. I don't want to be playing Beloved Beggar in this style of deck. If we don't have a way to mill it or to sacrifice it off, it tends to just like sit on the board and not do anything. And so I think we're in on the Lunarch Veteran. Wouldn't be opposed to pick up a Might of the Old Ways, but... Alright, well, after all those turds, here's at least some payoff in a Dualcraft Trainer. I mean, jeez. Those packs, I mean, if we'd picked up some red at some point, they would have been kind of interesting, but... All right, it's good. It's back to the cards that we can actually play. And so it's interesting. There is the things to look at are Shadow Beast Sighting and the Duel for Dominance. We're not taking Bird Admirer here. Need to see where our interactivity lies as far as spells go. We've got a Flare Faith, got one Duel for Dominance, one Might of the Old Ways, one Sun Gold Barrage. And so it's not that bad in terms of cards we could play here. I think I'm just going to pick up the Shadow Beast Sighting. I want to have a bit of a bit more interactivity here, or I'm sorry, a bit more reach here. Cathar Commando it is. This is a fairly weak set of cards overall. Howl for the Hunt would be the only consideration amongst those. And now it's just kind of done. I am going to take the Evolving Wilds here. We're never playing Soul Grift Guide or the Celestis Sanctifiers, and if some of those ridiculous red cards table, I'm not opposed to considering them now that we have access to Evolving Wilds. So here we'll take Defend the Celestis. I don't think this is going to make the cut, but I'm not going to play 2 Sun Gold Barrages or tapping at the window. All right, well, here's a Sun Gold Barrage, I guess. Guess if we wanted a second one, we're being given it. Then I think the rare has passed. I don't think we're getting a... Might of the Old Ways. I don't think we're getting a... rare Boros card, whatever it's called, Angel Fire Ignition. But no, this has come together okay. This is a wild journey to end up in green white, but I think I'm glad that we kind of picked up eventually that the blue green deck wasn't coming together and that the white cards were making their way around the packs. So this can be okay. I think we're strong enough to do some damage to this run. Got some high-powered cards and things like Consuming Blob. We got a big pile of good 2-drops with all of these Harvest Tide Sentries and Cathar Commandos. I think we can do stuff. That's all you could ever ask for, right? Being able to do stuff. Okay, so yeah, it hurts that we didn't pick up the Dawnheart Wardens. Are the only things I'm really kind of upset that we didn't have turnabout here. But yeah, I think it's okay. So yeah, there's nothing in our sideboard we're really interested in. I'm also going to cut one of these lands out. Probably needs to be a forest. Actually, I think I probably want to cut out the plains. It was like I see this big pile of 1-drops, but I'm not like super upset if we can't play Gavany Trapper on the first turn. But I'm going to be upset if I can't play Harvest Tide Sentry on the second. So let's just go ahead and cut this down. 1 plains. Now we need to get 4 more cards out of here. Was this T:CR? Is that how you got this split? Thanks, dude. I can't remember your name. I'm horrible at names, but dude in the comments told me how to do that, and I greatly appreciate it. So let's see. Can't move my Shadow Beast sightings up top though. You can't. You can't have it all, I guess. Okay, so the things I'm looking to remove here would be Candle Trap. This plays okay if we're playing with like a bunch of flyers, but it doesn't play that great when we're playing this early game kind of aggressive deck. And so I think that can go. I'm looking to move out Blessed Defiance, but I think we're just going to have a monster stack of creatures here, right? We have 16 at this point, and that's actually up to 19 once you include Join the Dance and Shadow Beast sighting. So I think I want to take out Pestilent Wolf. That's another fairly weak one. Blessed Defiance is going to come out if we're being serious about it. And then I'm probably keeping both Sun Gold Barrages here and then just looking to pull out Bird Admirer. Again, this is kind of in a similar vein to Pestilent Wolf. Plays much better on the defensive. That's not something we're really doing here. And so kind of like the way I'm making my considerations of these creatures is like, it is nice that it has the 1 attack so it can kind of pop off on a Coven. But we already have kind of like the 1s covered between Join the Dance, Snarling Wolf. I think it's okay to pull out the Bird Admirer. Yeah, that's going to leave us with, we are still playing Defend the Celestis, but we have 2 eccentric farmers to try and ramp up a little bit. Yeah, I like it. I think this is good. So, Bird Admirer, Pestilent Wolf, trap that thing out. Does that leave us 17 creatures? That's fine. Still have some minor combos with the Shadow Beasts and the farmers. I dig it. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do the battles. Man, it makes me sad. I want to be playing Grafted Identity. That card's bonkers, but just not the way things came together today. So many good red cards rolling around, too. I mean, we should have expected a lot of red to roll around when we saw like the 7th pick, Midnight Lightning Bolt. And so we should have perhaps considered a little bit more. Maybe we should try and seek out a Jack-o'-lantern or seek out a. There's the 4-cost unit that taps for any color mana. I guess there's 2. There's the Candleheart Scarecrow, and then there's also the green dude, the 2/4 that gains 3 life. But reasonable looking start here. It's going to be tough for us to hit a Coven, but I think this is still reasonable. It's Mr. T out here pitying the fools. Okay. We'll lead out with the Cathar Commando. I'm a little bit more interested in trying to get the Harvesttide Sentry down in the later game. So if we make a trade here on turn 2, I'd rather it be the Commando. Alright, well, I'm not quite willing to be making trades at this space. We have answers to this Larder Zombie soon. And so I think we can just let it go. I really hate passing up on this aggression, though. Maybe the play here is just... I think I just want to attack with the Commando, and then just play Might of the Old Ways. Just get this going. Adding the Harvesttide Sentry this turn isn't that big of a deal. And we could start in with the Shadow Beast sighting next turn. Interesting, the do nothing. He highlighted his Silver Bolts like he wanted to do it, but I think we have to continue with the Shadow Beast. If it gets hit with the flip the switch, then fine. But interesting. Okay. What you got for us? Ecstatic Awakener. Okay. We had a little bit more to do here. It's really unfortunate not to be able to duel for dominance down a 1/1, but it is what it is. Like the Sentry might be getting Silver Bolted. Nope. Okay. Well, he's successfully stopped our aggression. Getting kind of worried about this here. Really far away from getting Shadow Beast sightings going. We're gonna have to take down his Silver Bolt. I want to see if we can get some damage in here. He may just take it, and then post combat we have to Cathar Commando the Silver Bolts to try to get our Duelcraft Trainer going. I can't imagine we can like successfully win this game without something like Duelcraft Trainer happening. I was just going to be like, defend straight. Nothing we can do about that, but this is our best shot at getting a really strong board. If things stall out and we can keep the Duelcraft Trainer going. Gotta remember, this thing is brutal. Equipped creature gets flying and lifelink, and then when the creature dies, you can draw a bunch of cards. It's like I don't really want to be Flare of Faith, Duel of Dominancing this Organ Hoarder. But we can't just let him be gaining 3. Can we let him just gain 3 a turn? Alright, fine. It's like we just never recover if we 2-for-1 ourselves off on this Organ Hoarder. Alright, needs something. This is what I hate about Sun Gold Barrage. It's completely dead. So I don't like to play 2. There's if you like draw 2, it's like you can maybe get 1 unit, but it's very challenging to get 2 units since like Werewolves isn't a very strong or powerful deck. Alright, well, we're close to getting a Shadow Beast. We gotta get this double strike together. But I mean, if we can double strike Flare Faith, it's a potential for a big blowout. Surprised you're not attacking with Hobbling Zombie, it's never blocking. Oh, damage. Okay, so I mean, it gets us close. So I mean, if we draw a land, we can get a Coven with the Shadow Beast. If we draw a 2-attack unit or a 0-attack, we can also get a Coven. Got a bit of time running into this Organ Hoarder. Maybe. Now, do we want to target the token? I think that's okay. I don't want to go all in on this Dualcraft Trainer. Like, I know we have the Flare Faith in hand, but I think this is where it's at. Potentially get in for 5 or get a trade with the token onto his zombie. But highlighting my Dualcraft Trainer. It's our only way to win the game. Target creature gets -2. It's not nighttime, is it? Nope. So this is where our Flare Faith is going to have to be spent. Kind of sucks. Wait, what? Interesting. Did you just think it was nighttime? Okay, so I mean, the thing we have to watch out for ourselves now is he can kill us next turn with an Organ Hoarder plus a zombie. And so he has the 1 zombie on board. We also have to be aware Hobbling Zombie can potentially put another one on board. I'm not sure what he's counting up here. He's doing a lot of counting, a lot of mathematics on us. But we can't just attack with everything. I'm looking at just attacking with the Dualcraft Trainer and the Shadow Beast. But we can play a lot of stuff behind now. Whether or not it's like both Join the Dance and Snarling Wolf. I think that's okay. Assume this will get a block onto our 4/4, and he'll take 6. Alright, so our 3 units of potential here. We're going to have to kind of watch ourselves. If we lose our Snarling Wolf, then we don't have a Coven anymore. But Okay. Just cycling stuff. Fortunate. Ooh, this seems like prime time to hit with your zombies. They're not doing anything else. Oh, man. This would be so nice if we get to keep these little tokens back. Are you gonna bring it, Mr. T? Yeah, send it back. No, no attacks. Just keep them all back. Keep that organ hoarder behind. Okay, okay. Sure. And a component collector? Ah, jeez. Alright, so, I mean, we have to get our Coven pre-combat, and we can only do that with Defend the Celestus, so I think we... Creatures you control. Okay. So, I mean, I think we have to put one on a Dualcraft, and then one on each of 2 humans. I mean, I don't think we ever have the lethal here, but he may do something dumb. Yeah, don't block our double striker. I don't know if we're even there. That'd be 10. We'd still be short. Yeah. Seven, 8, 9's all we're getting in. Just a little bit too awkward there. We had like the turn where we're a couple turns we're about to like turn the corner on the board control, and we just drew that awkward collection of like sun gold barrages and stuff. Let me take one of these out. I think I really don't like ever playing 2 of these. I know we have 2 in here. Like I would rather just have Blessed Defiance. I'm even tempted to just play something like Thraben Exorcism, Spirit, a Disturb, or an enchantment. Ugh. Could just look to play something like Howl of the Hunt. I don't think we have any wolves in our deck, but it's a reasonable enough combat trick. Costs the same amount of mana as well. Otherwise, it's just another dude. I don't really want to add in more dudes, or it would be a Blessed Defiance. I think I would rather have the Howl of the Hunt than a Blessed Defiance. Let us win a combat and survive as opposed to just making a trade. Okay. Don't think we have too much in the way of wolves, though. I think we just have that one snarling wolf in our deck, and that's it. So you can't get a lot of vigilance style plays out of it. All right, so what do we got here? 1 and a 2 we can play with our high powered cards. Okay. Here comes. They're never making that trade. I'd be more than happy for it to happen, though. We'll just block his commando. It's a little scary with this hand, though. We drew both of our double green cards and don't have any forests yet. So, a little worried in that sense. Also, just don't have any plays for this turn. Also sucks. Little Griff, oh, that's brutal. I guess we have a play now. I guess we have a play. She's gonna get us again. Say, I got you twice, bust. Right. A little worried playing the Dualcraft Trainer here. We haven't played any units worthy of a removal spell, and just having such a high quality card come down. I guess he probably doesn't have defense trait, or we would have just played it. Let's see. F. Right, on the defensive. Oh boy. Okay. Nope. We knew the risk we were getting ourselves into. It's just unfortunate whenever this happens. A way to turn before we start to block this stuff. I'm fine with just go ahead and taking this thing down. I mean, there's definitely even a world where we just don't have a play next turn, and him getting a 4/4 lifelinker off of the curse is just a little bit too painful. Okay, that's what it is. All right. Well, let's see if we can cruise through the 2-loss bracket. Hopefully, we can pull out something with this deck. Ugh, it's not that bad. I mean, the first game was a real game. That game was not, but this is certainly better than an 0-3. All right, Dirty Murphy. Let's see who's going home sad. All right, reasonable enough. Okay. I'm curious if he ever takes this. Not really amped about spending a combat trick here, but if you're not just going to trade out the Triscata file, like what are you going to do with it? You're never drawing cards with this thing against a green-white deck, right? Or if he does, fine, great. If you want to spend your 4th turn just drawing a card, absolutely. But I think this is okay. Yeah, I got a cat that needs attention. Let me see. So I think these attacks are fine. We can Flare of Faith whatever he puts the Hobbling Zombie in front of. And I'm still surprised he's not using that Triscata file. All right. You haven't seen this cat. It's one that doesn't like to be on the videos. She doesn't hang out nearly as much. I think it's a she. I'm not sure. When I got this cat, the little sign at the shelter said short-haired male, and then it turned out to be not short-haired. And then the next time I took him to the vet, they're like, "Why did you give this cat a boy's name? This is totally a girl." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know. It said on the paper that it was a boy, so I just assumed the paper was correct." But then here recently, I taken her to the vet for a checkup, and the dude was like, "I'm pretty sure this is a boy cat." And so she's gone a decade thinking she was a girl. Turns out it's a boy. Who knows? It doesn't matter. She's still a wonderful kitty. Baneblade Scoundrel, sure. Well, it's going to trade for something. Probably this Cathar Commando. Potential for interestings as if we can hit a Coven and he doesn't have a proper blocker for one of these Harvestite Sentries. Scatophile is not a proper blocker. Okay, so we don't get damage in this way, but we couldn't lethal it, which is kind of problematic. Now we're stuck with this dumb Sun Gold Barrage. I'd like to have a target for this, please. I was like hoping he'd just tap out for a Digraph Horde. Big time draw. I didn't stop and mention why I didn't sit around and just hold the land. Like we have these two Shadow Beast sightings, and if we get hit with like discard cards, I'm not going to be really happy about it when we're trying to get up to 7 mana. So, all right, we win. GG. All right, good. So we didn't we didn't 0-win this one. Oof. See if we can't push this one up into Diamond 1 before it's all said and done. That'd be pretty sweet. Getting close to Mythic. We're getting close. And in my experience, about middle of the month, this is most of these people in Diamond or in Mythic. They'll be there at the end of the month. That's kind of where we are. But the thing I always thought was nice with this was like people would get nervous about their opponents at live events if they had to play versus random pro or whatnot. And it's like you've already played against them. Like at the point of these games, being up in like Diamond and higher, you've played against Smurfs and done well. This is something that's kind of scary. I really don't like these 4-land hands in best of 1. It feels like it's worth a mulligan, but I mean, being on the draw with a 1 and a 2 and a combat trick and kind of a mana sink in the Snarling Wolf, I'm gonna risk it. This is exactly why I don't like doing it, though. You're still like a 1 and 3 to draw a land, and if we hit a second land, this game's just done. Like it just does not matter. So hopefully we can survive here. Do we want to block, or just want to keep being aggressive? I mean, it's such a good blocker against a lot of our deck, but I mean, we have a ton of 3 attack units in this deck. Let's be the aggro here. I think we're safe to just take this. Bring it. Alright, so this is much better now. We can, if he wants to block our Snarling Wolf, we can spend the mana. We have just tons of options here. I like these. Interesting, he no-plays us. And he hits our enchantment getter, for lack of a better word. All right, hopefully we can get wide enough here. Or if we hit a coven, would also be quite strong. Dualcraft Trainer, we're not coven, there's no reason to play it. Then, do we just want to accept the trade? I think I'm kind of okay with this, and we could try to kill him with Might of the Old Ways next turn. Well, that's unacceptable. So how do we feel about this? He's out of cards. He's going to draw one next turn. We can't do anything about this Moonrager Slash. But we could protect our Harvesttide Sentry. If we protect the Sentry, then we can't play Dualcraft Trainer next turn. Or this turn. I think we just go with the Dualcraft Trainer. He's out of cards. The Sun Gold Barrage, I was always hoping we could draw. We target their creatures with this. Target creature gets 2/2 until end of turn. Okay. Interesting he didn't do that for damage. All right, we'll make the big mana play here. We'll see if they just play like a land or something. We can still win the game. This exiles, right? No, just destroys. That sucks. Feels like that sequencing over there could have been a little bit more dangerous for us. I think I'm okay with just letting them hit the Covetous Castaway, though. I mean, it feels a little sketch, just going all in on the Might of the Old Ways. We have a bit of time as well, so I think that's okay. And then we can look to play our Dualcraft Trainer, and then if he does add the Castaway, we have the Sun Gold Barrage ready. Okay. Okay. I was going to say, I'm thinking, I don't want to Sun Gold Barrage on his turn. Kind of the space we're running into here is that. Exactly that. Say he has like a Moonrager Slash. I want to be able to just take his unit down. He's going to tap. Hey, we're getting close, I guess. Maybe we should have just gone all in a few turns ago, but it's okay. Now that he's been out here drawing cards and stuff, it's a little scary. But if he taps out for the Castaway, then we're looking pretty good. He goes for the removal spell. Oh no, did he block? Okay. I was going to say, we had this Howl of the Hunt in our hand. If he was going to just try and go to 1, then we could have ended the game. Take us forever more turns. He's going to be able to tap our unit now. Ugh. Shuffled in 3 removal spells. Alright, he gets to tap our dude. This doesn't only untaps wolves, right? Dang. Phew. Alright, that felt like a lot more challenging than it needed to be. Alright, we got there. Alright. 2 wins in the books. I knew you could do a deck. I knew you weren't a 0 winner. Good, cat's back. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. What do we got here? This looks like a reasonable set of cards. I mean, it's a 1 and a 2, nothing we can really duel for dominance with, but it's okay. We've got this Sun Gold Barrage that we've been complaining about all day. Opponent took a mulligan. Coming at you. We can be Coven next turn if we want. It would be sweet to draw a land, but not a requirement. And I think I'm pretty on board with just go ahead and duel for dominance this guy down. It's not like super high valued, but maybe not. Maybe we'll get something that's gonna stop our combats a little bit better. We can always just duel for dominance on their turn as well. Alright, doing it. Creature you control, creature you don't. It's like, not defense straight, please. Just the removal spell is so painful. Now we don't have a follow-up play. This is bad. This is bad. Sure. Alright, Shadow Beast, we're counting on you to put in some work. Chance they just pass it back to us to draw the card off the Sage. Not in any imminent danger here. Highlighting that Triscata file. I wonder, is that good? Is that bad? Castaway. Sure. If we don't play a spell here, he's going to get to play more cards. This is most certainly going to be a Might of the Old Ways turn. Regardless of whether or not he blocks. I think we have to do it. Just getting to draw so many cards if we don't. Okay, but our card cycles, so that's at least a bit of a perk. To tap something here, we might get a reasonable usage of our Sun Gold Barrage. You could make this sound promising. Dude, that is a bold attack with the Filament Sage. Dude is bringing it. Highlighting the Castaway now. Get to tap it and then attack on our turn. That's fine. We're gonna have to look to like tap and Sun Gold Barrage on his turn though. So I'm not really looking to play Defend the Celestus. And we could. It's not unreasonable to take 8 here. Take the pile of removal spells. Oh, interesting. The Abomination was in there. Sure. The Blob. How do we feel about you? So he's a 4/5 and then generates 4/5s. At the beginning of your end step, create a green ooze. Yeah. Get behind that. So we'll get to gain 2 damage off the Lunarch Veteran with this. Gain 2 health, I guess. Life. Gain life, that's what it is in this game. Invigorate me with the life. All right. Well, there's a selection of high-quality dudes. hopefully that's enough to carry some weight here. Wow. Much aggression. Okay. I mean, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 blockers. We just need 2 of our guys to get in. See what happens. We can tap something with the Trapper next turn if we need to as well. It depends on what he comes out here and blocks with. So, I mean, we have to worry about a Geist Wave. We have to worry about a Midnight Ambush. I think we just win the game, whatever he's doing here. coming in for 8. He's going to Geist Wave one of our tokens. Or we're coming in for 5. He's going to... Right, he's going to Geist Wave like this for 5, and then we're just going to defend the Celestus for the win. It's the only reason he would make that monster block. What? 4, 8, 9. Am I missing something? It's impossible. This is ridiculous trying to see what these cards are actually blocking, but 4, 8, 9. Okay. I don't think I'm missing anything. All right. Weird me out. All right, yay, Diamond 1. Cool. Yeah, that was strange, but I wonder if they misclicked that startle and were intending to just have us go to 1, or just to go down to 1. Very, very realistic. That was what happened there. But still, it was a monster block lined up on our ooze. I'm surprised they couldn't have come up with something a little bit safer than that. Like, at the end of the day, if he put a bunch of dudes in front of our ooze and then put even just like a hook hunt drifter in front of something else, then I wouldn't have risked nearly as much damage. But, all right. What do we got with this one? The first appearance of Eccentric Farmer? Sure. Alright, not going to attack just yet. We'll have a Coven a turn from now, where we can hopefully do something. We should have taken the planes. Now we can't both Flare Faith and join the dance next turn. That was sloppy. Big one. He discarded Spectral Adversary. Lots of good spirits coming about. Sure, what 1-mana card there is. I think you want to hold priority here. I don't think there's anything. One mana for white. The only 1-mana white cards in the format are, I guess there's that that combat trick that gives you +2/+0. All right, we'll risk it. Bring in the hammer. Feels like a trick, but I'm pretty okay with that. As long as he's not adding more cards to the board, I think it's fine. Yep, it was the Blessed Defiance. We lost out on our Dualcraft trainer there. That kind of sucks. All right. Adeline? Jeez. We just don't have the card quality to run into this stuff. Alright, let's see what we can do here. He never blocks. We can try and get a Flare of Faith out of that, but otherwise we're just looking for like a big defend the Celestis now. He comes in with Adeline. What happened? Three, four, 5 damage coming in. This is not good. We're just gonna get lethal next turn. We could have put a block in front of the Shipwreck Sifters. That was probably a little sloppy. Did I put that on the wrong one? It's so hard for me to see what's going on. I think I just put it on the wrong unit. I did. Oh, we're just dead anyways. Okay. It's so hard for me to see that stuff. Like the like overlapping arrows with pretty similar colors. Colorblind mode or something. I assure you I can see all of the colors, but it's tough for me to see what happens when those big combats are going on. But alrighty, yeah, well, it was serviceable for a run. Let's get this pulled up. We'll talk about it a little more. All right, so yeah, I mean, in terms of green-white decks, I don't think this one was too exciting. I mean, I think we navigated the draft well. I think that's what we need to spend most of our time talking about. But the kind of like the big things that turn these green-white decks into 3 and 4 winners and up into the 7 winners are kind of like a lot of those uncommons. We have a lot of the top end that makes this more decent than usual between the blob and the dualcraft trainer, but you can usually do a little better. It's not hard to get a collection of like 3 and 4 must answer units, and that is how I feel like you usually land in green-white. And we just only picked up 2 between the Consuming Blob and the Dualcraft Trainer. And then we have a lot of cards that are just kind of fillery and not that good. Like, we don't want these Sun Gold Barrages. We don't want these Eccentric Farmers. We don't want Howl of the Hunt. We don't have like a lot of the glue that really brings these decks together. I think, at least there were a lot of positives to it. I mean, the Harvest-Tide Sentries are great. This is your kind of early game unit of choice. And so it was nice that we got to piece together the kind of the Trapper package along with all of the Harvest-Tide Sentries to make the Covens come easy. But ultimately, at the end of the day, our deck was just kind of lacking. Like, as we ran into that dude in the last game's deck was just way better than ours. And so, I could see this going up to like 4 or 5 wins, but this isn't something that I would really expect to be a 7 winner. But again, I think this one was kind of interesting, mainly in the draft. As if this was one of your first videos with us, the big thing we'll say about these early game aggressive style decks based on Harvest-Tide Sentry and Candle Witch is your way to hit the Coven. It's very easy to hit 2s and 3s, but you need to find a way to hit either 0, 1, or 4. And so that's where you find the importance of things like Gavany Trapper, Shadow Beast Sighting. It's kind of one of the things to take note of as you're running through the draft is if you're not able to hit a Coven, then the Harvest-Tide Sentry and the Candlegrove Witch just aren't nearly as good. But we didn't have too many problems here with our ability to hit them. But yeah, I think this draft was pretty interesting. I think we navigated it pretty well. So, like, the Grafted Identity was still the pick here. The Organ Hoarder at pick 2 is still right on point. Just the one of the best complements to the Grafted Identity we could have. And then the blue dries up. And so we have to make a decision. There's not, as far as drafting blue, either want to be mainly in blue-white or blue-black if we're in these early stages. And then we can look to blue-green and blue-red based on the cards that fall to us. But With a pack like this, there's no white or red or white or black cards worth taking, so we're stuck taking something green. And then if we're going to be taking a green card, I'm good with the Shadow Beast sighting. If we land in the ramp deck, this is the key to the ramp deck, to where you can kind of just get filler, where Harvest Tide Sensory doesn't necessarily fall, but the Shadow Beast sightings are a requirement for the ramp deck. And so happy enough to pick that one up at 3. I was happy enough here at 4 as well. Again, there's no Esper cards really worth taking. Cathar's Call is fine, but it doesn't play well in blue-white, and so we're kind of stuck looking to green. I'm not a huge fan of Willow Geist. Just doesn't play well. There's not enough ways to flashback cards for this thing to get reasonably big, and so duel for dominance it is. The blue-green decks really lack in removal, so I'm happy to come in and pick this one up. Again, interesting space to move out. I think this was still a good pick as well. Defend the Celestis is we already had 3 4-drops at this point. We don't want any more, and so we should go ahead and avert some of the risk here and maybe just take the Gavany Trapper. I could see an argument for the Silverbolt, but I think the Trapper is the way to go. Gavany Trapper number 2. I'm still glad we took it over the Silversmith. Faithful Mending makes it seem kind of like blue-white may be open. This is where I'm kind of curious, as if we should have just said, well, maybe red is the place to be. We always talk about, the openness of red, if you're able to find these like pick 5 or pick 6 Moonrager slashes, and here having one at pick 7, this is the most clear and obvious indicator you're going to get that red is open. And I'm curious if this is where we should have just picked up on it. Like the only downsides to these, like as far as the cards we have, like if we don't have a lot of the good like core to red decks, right? Because I mean, like we don't want to be drafting like white red when our pile is 2 trappers and a Moonrager slash. With blue red, we're looking more towards the spells theme, and we don't have anything really going on with it. And then in green red, we're trying to do werewolves, and we don't have any werewolves at this point either. And so I think it's a tough slash to take, but that may have been the way to go about it. But given that we already have Organ Hoarder, Grafted Identity with 2 highly playable white cards, I think the Faithful Mending, it felt like that this was a good indicator that perhaps blue-white is open, or at least one of the colors is open, but pack 3 just did not agree with that sentiment. So here the Dissipate's fine. We still think we're playing blue-white. Stormrider Spirit's nice filler. We're not missing out on any green cards as far as these are concerned. Here, like the Secret to the Key was a mispick. I think we should have either picked up the Timberland Guide or the Broodweaver, probably the Broodweaver, but I don't think we ever play Secret to the Key. It's like I don't want it in a blue-white or a blue-green deck, and so it's kind of a stretch. We had other green playable cards. Here, we should have just taken the Sentry. I don't know. It's like at the beginning points of the format, I was kind of like happy with Sun Gold Barrage. It was like people at that stage, it was kind of like, as far as the meta went, people were like really grasping how good blue-black was, and so digraph hordes were everywhere, and then it kind of evolved to like people figuring out how good the flyers were, so things like Bird Admirer were shooting up in value, and so there was like always a target for Sun Gold Barrage, but like I've had so many games here recently where it just doesn't ever hit relevance. And so I think we probably should have just picked up the Harvest Tide Sentry here, because I would have been completely happy if we pieced together a blue-white deck that doesn't have one of these things in it. So I think that was a mispick as well. I think we should have just picking it, right? The Sentry. But here, Combat Trick's fine. And then a bunch of turds. And so, yeah, I thought that was interesting space here. The Consuming Blob, though, was just completely powerful. We're it still doesn't feel like we could ever be blue-green at this point, but I'm happy enough to keep locking in this green stuff. I mean, the Overwhelmed Archivist is quite good, but it is not really strong enough to take in a deck like this. We don't have enough of the blue-green pieces, and so I think we get pretty well locked in to green. And then this was probably a mistake here in the Falcon Abomination. This is where I think the kind of big core mistake of the draft. Some of these other ones were passable, but I think here we should have been able to assert that we were going to be in green-white now that we've picked up the 3 Harvest-Tide Sentries. We do have like so much raw power in the Organ Hoarder Grafted Identity, but I think this is the big mispick of the draft, is missing out on this Dawnhart Wardens for the Falcon Abomination. But then we just immediately realize, oh shit, we're drafting green-white, aren't we? Join the Dance is fine. Almost rather have Homestead Courage than join the dance. Maybe that was a mistake as well, but it's okay. Then here we know that we're in green-white at this point, and we've really really missed out on that one Dawnhart unit. Here, maybe we shouldn't have taken the Farmer. I don't really like Candlelit Cavalry, but I really don't like Eccentric Farmer in these green-white decks, and so kind of unfortunate. A Gift of a Flare of Faith late. The rest is filler, and then the rest, the pack 3 was just an abysmal mess. I don't think we missed out on anything here. We did realize we were in green-white at this point, but just absolutely nothing in terms of cards to take. They took a common out of this one, just nothing for us to take. There's a common and an uncommon missing out of this, and we're still stuck taking Lunarch Veterans. I mean, this was just a all-around fairly weak pack 3. You pick up the Dual Craft Trainer, which is super important, but pretty weak pack 3. Felt like we only got about 2 to 2.5 packs of drafting here because the start of pack 3 was just so bad for us. But yeah, that was interesting. I think again, this was the big one here. This pick 5, we should have realized we should have been a Dawnhart Warden stack, and it seems like we probably should have had like 6 Harvest-Tide Sentries at the end of the day. But nonetheless, it was a good learning experience. I'm glad that I at least picked up on that we should be pivoting out of blue and into green-white. Just picked up on it just like a touch too late. But alrighty, that's gonna do it for that. I think we just picked up a pack or two, so we'll see what shows up in these. Call it a day. What you got for us, Catilda? I think that's one of the few rares that I still needed for my collection. Nice to add that one to the mix. And our last one, Wake to Slaughter. So that is going to do it for us today. Hope you learned how to abandon your blues and pick up the Coven. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.